Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joe Sked. I hope everyone is doing very well and their heart rate has returned to normal levels after getting that siren on your phone if you live in guessing in Scotland because of the storm warning. Was just out for a wander and I almost soiled myself, but let's not dwell on that. This is a solo video this afternoon or evening as I take a temperature check on the current Heart Midlothian squad following the arrival of Michael Steinvender and the expected arrival of Sander Khartoum this week. As ever with these solo videos, for those watching on YouTube and Facebook, I'll get to questions toward the end because it's hard. I find it hard to talk constantly and also monitor questions in the chat at the same time without getting distracted. So I will keep an eye out for them, and if there's ones that I don't cover and what I say, I will try to answer them as best I can. Now, of course, before we get into it, a message from our sponsors. Good Vibes Giveaways are proud to sponsor Hearts Standard and offer fantastic prizes to fans of the club. Prizes change weekly and include tech gadgets, days out, weekends away, tax-free cash, and even OASIS tickets. Get your tickets now at www.goodvibesgiveaways.com and enter for your chance to spread the good vibes. Now, the main bulk of this video is not a rip-off, but just it's in conjunction with a piece that went up on the site just after 5 o'clock about just the squad analysis, looking at the depth charts, and I'll get them up on the screen for those watching very shortly, and just to look at the way that the squad has evolved, what's happened over the last few months, what's happened in the January transfer window, and potentially what could happen in the final 11 days before the window shuts at midnight on Monday, February 3rd. So yeah, I think it's probably best to, before looking at the present day and the future, just to quickly jump back to the start of the season. And if I was prepared, I would have these ready now, but I don't. So I am just going to load them up just now. So I think this is definitely one. Is this this is the updated one or the old squad? We will see. No, that's for later. Let's go for. Nope, don't want to share that either. Well done. Really should. I thought I was prepared. Clearly wasn't. So apologies for anyone listening as a podcast. And even just anyone listening, because I am just waffling until I get the right graphic. And then you don't have to see my face. This is still the old one. Okay, let's go for third time lucky. Nope, not sharing my screen. And this is embarrassing. This one has got a mistake in it, but I'm not going to get the one that's not got a mistake in it because that will take me ages, and then I'll just be more embarrassing. So I'll just stick with embarrassment of having spelt Boateng wrong. So apologies for that, Malachi Boateng. Missed out an A, but it is correctly spelt in the article. So this is how for those watching on YouTube or Facebook, this is how the squad line, essentially, this is how the squad, what the squad looked like when the January transfer window shut. Now, I've put players in what kind of coming into the season, where we expected them to play, kind of. I know there's a few that are very versatile, so you'll see that Danda and Spittle are as number 10s with Liam Boyce, and then you've only got Barry Mackay on the left. Now, as a season has evolved, the Spittle and Danda have moved over to that left-hand side and above Mackay, and I've tried to put it in order of kind of hierarchy, almost as if like who we can assume maybe be first choice or not. Probably got a few of them in the wrong position, but that gives you an idea of what the squad was like after the close of the summer transfer window. Now, I was guilty of it at the time, thinking, "Oh, that's a really deep squad, loads of competition." And in certain areas there was, like, look at the centre back. The centre back situation was great. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation had competition at full back positions. Even with Callum Newhoff's injury, he's in red, as you see on the screen. There was competition in the centre midfield, and then decent competition. There was plenty of competition at number 10, and the wide areas. There were still, though, probably two areas of concern among some fans. The big one was striker. What happens if Lauren Shankland gets injured or Lauren Shankland has a drop-off in goal-scoring form? Now, I don't think any of us saw the kind of drastic nature of Shankland's dip in goal-scoring form coming after the 2 seasons where he finished top goal scorer. And yeah, there was, with Kyosuke Tagawa having gone, there wasn't really a replacement. Obviously brought Musa Drama in. He has predominantly played wide and he was very experienced. And then I think the belief was that Vargas would make a step forward after his first really good season. Liam Boyce would come back into contention as a forward as well. Neither of those really materialised. It opened up space for James Wilson as well, not bringing on a striker, but then he wasn't used until really Critchley came in, and it was almost a necessity to use him just because of injuries, suspension, or form, and he's turned out to have done really well. So that was one area, and obviously it came back to bite the team massively, I would say, in this season. And then the other area was probably pace in attack, whether it was wide areas or wherever. And I suppose you could marry up with, in hindsight, looking at the questions over the wide players. So you had, probably everyone had a question about them. So the new signings, Dan Dunspell, how would they adapt to moving across the Hearts? It took them, well, certainly it took Spittle a wee while to get up and running. Danda has been on the fringes and essentially not really played that number 10 position, as we'll come on to discuss when I put up the graphic of how the squad looks just now. Barry Mackay, could he get back up there? Could he find his impactfulness or his influence that he once had after an injury disrupted season? Could Forrest, and when Vargas played out wide, could they make this step up from their really good seasons the season previous and be more productive, more assists, more goals? How would Musa Drama fare where coming in from the Spanish was the 4th tier, and could Yutaro Oda find more consistency in his game? Unfortunately, the answers to a lot of those questions are more on the negative side. So it has meant that there's been issues, as we've seen throughout the season, with certainly in the wide areas, on who's kind of merited that. I think Blair Spittle's probably the only one kind of out of that who has firmly nailed down his place in the squad with that. And elsewhere, in terms of there's been a wee bit of movement. You've had, as we'll come on, I'll put the other screen up shortly, and you've got Adam Forresters came into the situation at right back. Obviously, it took until Liam Fox came up because Stephen Kingsley played a game at right back as well before Forrester came into it. So yeah, I think looking back just briefly, it was the two main areas of concern coming into the season, or once the window had closed, did kind of bear fruit in terms of that concern, lack of backup striker Shankland, and kind of the pace or quality in the attack or wide areas. Now I will remove this from good riddance to that one, and we'll bring up this. So this is how the squad is looking at the current time. So we'll see that I've moved some positions around. The first graphic I showed was in a 4-2-3-1 situation. Now I've put it on just in a 4-4-2 situation. I thought it was better suited. And you've got Tate, who's yellow. That just indicates that he is potentially going to go out on loan. A move to Livingston is certainly has been in the pipeline. Whether it gets completed this week, not sure. Aidan Denham, who's came back from loan, Kingsley and Kent are all red because of their longer term injuries. And then this, I don't know, pinkish colour of Khartoum is again the expected arrival. So he's got a question mark. Don't know what his deal's going to be like, but that is how the squad is looking at the moment in terms of hierarchy as well. And we see it's a bigger squad. That was one thing coming into the January transfer window, is that there was, on one side, there was a few priority positions that needed to be recruited in, and there also needed to be players going out to reduce the number of squads. So To begin with, there has been 3 signings so far. Khartoum would make it 4, and there have a couple of key positions have been addressed. So Elton Cabangus came in attack, gives the team another striker option, and so far he's looked promising. Be keen to see him and Shanklin link up sooner rather than later, potentially even Saturday. McCart and Steinvender have come in, obviously, with Steinvender was identified before any defensive issues, but Kingsley's gone injured, Kent's injured, Rills is gone. So, yeah, 2 centre-backs have been important. Nielsen's came back into the squad. Maybe discuss him later on. And then you've got Taylor, who's fit again, Neuenhoff, who's so very, very close to his first team return. So now the squad is at the moment it's sitting at 30 players. So if you take Tate out and put Khartoum in, it'll still be 30 players. Now 27 because of injuries, but there's going to be more players. I think the hope would be that some players will leave. Now I think it's actually harder in January to move players on than it is to bring players in, because there's, as with all transfers, there's a number of factors that you have to take into consideration. You have got to have interest in players. Now, one thing I would say is that every single Hearts player is available. Some are more available than others, but you've got to have interest in the players. You've got the team that are interested to be willing to either buy them or pay the wages that they are on at Hearts, or take on a big percentage if they want to sign them on loan. And then you also have to have the player want to go to that club. So there's a number of factors from there, and I would suggest this is probably going to be the busier aspect of the rest of the window for Hearts. But some of them are pretty obvious in that Oda and Mackay are very much on the fringes. Both played in the bounce game during the week, and I think if there was suitable offers that suited all parties, then they would move on. Like I said about Nielsen, he came back from St Johnstone. I would say he's 5th choice centre-back behind McCart, Halkett, Steinvender, Oyegoke. He's not played for Hearts since coming back, so he's still eligible to go out on loan. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go out on loan. Kind of aside from that, I think you've got kind of guys who've slipped down the pecking order. Boateng's slipped down the pecking order. Then kind of Grant's gone up the pecking order. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the dynamics at play over the next week or so. But you're looking at kind of Oda, Mackay, and probably Nielsen as potential exits. Again, it comes down to people who have. Comes down to clubs wanting them. Sorry, I've just seen a message in the comments that Neuenhoff is 2027. Have I got that? No, I think Callum Neuenhoff's contracted to 2026. Sorry, I'll bring that up from Duncan Cameron. I think he's 2026. That's what I read on Nary's Toe Poker, who has all the contracts of Scottish Premiership players. I'm just going to check transfer market because I want to find out if I've made a mistake. Yes, I've trusted Nary's Toe Poker, and of course I have made a mistake. With Callum Neuenhoff's contract does seem to be 2027, so I will need to amend that in the article. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, going back to the squad, there is it's looking healthier but bigger. That's the only thing. The only area which is looking light is the left back situation. Of course, at the start of the season there were 4 options at left back. That included Salazar, who's gone back to Atletico Nacional, that included Rolls, and that included Kingsley. Now it's down to James Penrice, and we all know how important James Penrice has been to this season. So I think everyone touched wood that he doesn't pick up an injury. However, he is 3 bookings away from a 2-game suspension, so that's probably an area where you could argue that team could do with a backup. Again, depends on what they see, the youth situation, and Ethan Drysdale's mentioned by Neil Critchley, but he's still only played twice for the B team since his injury. And then there is still discussions over a winger. And I'd still, even with Khartoum coming in, I would still say that Hearts would require a winner, going back to what I said earlier on, just about all the question marks over certain players. Blair Spittle's made the left wing place his own. Dander's been used there more often than number 10. He's kind of just been more of a, at the moment, squad player. And then on the right, Musa's been the one who has been the predominant player recently. Vargas could play there. I wouldn't mind seeing him play there against playing Kilmarnock. And then Khartoum could play there as well, and kind of reverse of Spittle, left-sided player who comes in field and would be able to open up space for example, Taylor bombing up and down the line. But a winger, I know Chesnikoff has been spoken about a lot. It's a deal that straight away, I think it was always going to be one that wasn't straightforward, to just with the number of factors at play, but someone quick and could play in field or be a more traditional winger would provide the team with a different dynamic. So those are probably two areas that the team would be looking for. Beyond that, I would imagine someone who is a player who the club have identified as a target, who's now become available, or someone they can get now rather than this summer. But that is, again, wait and see for that. So yeah, that's how the squad is looking just now. I think there is a better balance. I mean, Khartoum is the first left footer in as a forward, or do you look at Spittle, Danda, Mackay, Drama, Forrest, Oda, all predominantly right-footed, or their strongest foot, is their right. But yes, I think that's where it stands just now. I think Khartoum should be, all things going well, announced by the end of the week at the latest, and then it'll be a case of what else the club can do, both ins and outs, between now and the 3rd of February. I have waffled on for long enough, so I'll go into the comments and see. So yeah, Callum Newhoff is 2027, so we'll need to amend that. I've been duped. I'm going to blame someone else. Cal6 says, I'm delighted we have possibly addressed the lack of creative midfielder in a position we've been severely lacking for months. Yeah, that's another good thing about Khartoum, is that his versatility. Seems like he can play number 10 as well. You look at the central midfield options at the moment. Critchley is preferred to play Spittle and Danda on the left. Grant has played number 10, but I think we've seen his limitations in that position against Aberdeen. And then Devlin, Beningame, Newhoff, Boateng, none are really 10, so you wouldn't want to play them in that 10 position, whereas Khartoum brings something different, brings a bit of versatility, flexibility as well. Again, you can move to a 4-3-3 if you want, because that's where he played for Bran, on the right of a midfield 3 and a 4-3-3, so it gives Critchley that option. Dave123 asks, was the press conference today with Neil Critchley? No, it is usually always on a Friday. However, tomorrow it has been cancelled due to the weather. So there's still plans to have the club media interview him, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, just due to the weather, that's been cancelled. So is the women's game, so is the B team game. Unfortunately, I'd been planning to go to that. Sydney Devine asks, how does Critchley keep McCart, Halkett and Steinvender happy if he continues playing two centre-backs? So I think this one is short term. I don't think it's a massive issue. I think short term, McCart and Halkett are the first choice centre back pairing. I would imagine Steinvender's not played since the end of November, so it could take him a wee bit of time to get back up and running. And he's 24 and signed until 2028, so he's a long term player where I think you probably see more of him in the medium term, whereas I think short term, if he needs to play, he can. But I don't think the good thing about him coming in, and with the situation at the moment, you're not having to pitch him in straight away and hope that that works. Someone like Kabangu, you're wanting him to come in straight away and hit the ground running. That doesn't really have to happen with Steinvender. And then in the summer, I think that's a better time to address, and just to see how the dynamic works at centre-back. Ben Odlin says, I'm more impressed with our signings than our outgoing. See what happens, though. Who's Who's the possible curveball departure? Don't tell me it's Penrice. No, I don't think it would be. Would be Penrice. Again, I think, like I said, all players are available, some more than others. Penrice would cost a fair bit of money. I would certainly hope so. Anyway, 23 days into the window and still no wingers when realistically we need two. I would say at the moment, one thing I would say about the January window, I don't want Hearts doing loads of business in the January window. I prefer if there was going to be an overhaul, prefer that to the summer. I do think Hearts need a winger, but I think one would suffice, just because you've also got the fact that the schedule is not intense at all. I think there's one midweek game, excluding the St Mirren game, which we moved to the Monday. There's 1 week where there's 3 games a week, in terms of like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever it is, when play St Mirren at the end of February. So yeah, I would say one would be ideal. How come Boateng isn't playing as much? I just think Cammy Devlin has. I just think the balance of the midfield. Cammy Devlin has, as a wrote earlier on the month, has just been fantastic. I generally think he's the best. Generally think he's the best defensive midfielder in the league in terms of what he does, in terms of just putting pressure on opposition, winning the ball back, making it difficult, and just just reading the game, being in the right place at the right time. Boateng does similar. So looking at the metrics, Boateng does a lot of things similar. So I just think it's overkill playing both of them in the midfield, and I just think you get a better balance with Devlin and Birmingham. Then we've seen Grant come in, and we've seen what Grant's been able to do in that deeper position where he's been a bit more vertical with his passing. So I think it's just a case of the balance in midfield, and Boateng has kind of slipped down to, I would say, 4th choice midfielder, and then we've got Callum Newhoff, who will offer something different. So yeah, I think that's just how it's gone. Joe, you heard anything on Shanklin signing a new contract? No, not heard anything about that or in any talks. If there was, I would imagine it would be until after the window potentially. If there was any Chesnikoff update, as I mentioned, I've not heard any in terms of like progress on it. I think there's interest, but it is, from what I understand, it's a very hard deal to pull off, and I think there's just a number of factors at play. So that one's a wait and see, and whether Hearts go into a different direction with it. James Governas, do enough to stay safe until rebuild in the summer. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you just need to address the key areas, which Hearts have done mainly with Kabangu and Makar and Khartoum and Steinvender, before doing before even thinking about ripping anything up and going Tonto. You just want guys to be able to come in and fit into the squad and provide the team with attributes, qualities they're missing. Mark Fizz, I'm not watching live, but I would imagine Shankland, Mackay, Grant will go at the end of their contracts. I could see us, Vargas, Oda, Forrest and Nielsen getting moved on at the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything in terms of definitive on it. Yeah, as things stand, Mackay, as things stand, I would agree with the contract situation. I can't see at the moment. It doesn't look like any of those will stay. And then, yeah, guys who haven't been playing, guys who have not been able to get the pitch. I think one thing with Jamestown is that, yes, it is involved as a part of the process of recruitment, but it's also constantly analysing the squad that Hearts have. So there'll be players there who stay beyond the window, have 4, 5, 6 months to kind of prove themselves, and then again, I think everything will be addressed in the summer. Yeah, there we go. That is all the questions in the comment section. I will hide the squad again, as always with these solo videos. I apologise for my waffling. If you want to read more coherent thoughts, go on to heartstandard.co.uk and you will find the article relating to this video. And yeah, I will update the Neuenhof one. And again, I need to emphasise I was duped by a site I trust. So I need to fix that and yeah, be embarrassed for making the new enough mistake. But yeah, hands up. Anyway, we will. My God, your voice is so boring. I know I have to listen to it every day, John. Yeah, and my missus says that as well. That will do us for now. John has really hurt my feelings, so I'm going to go away and have a wee sob. But yes, please do check out heartstandard.co.uk, and you've got loads of content up there. Will be stuff over the weekend as well with the game and bits and bobs, maybe a few announcements we will see. If you haven't subscribed, please do so on YouTube. And until the next time, potentially tomorrow, I'll see if I can get anyone to join me. Thank you very much, and goodbye.